In today's video, we are facing my disappointments head-on, aka hopping back into the scary game and fixing the stuff you guys told me was, well, not great. So first things first, the last episode of this, we made the containment room, which you guys did like, but you pointed out a few things. One being the red is way too bright for being in a scary game. Secondly, the thing that would contain said monster is small, but the noises and sound effects that we have other places in the game make it seem like the monster is huge. So today, I have a quick little idea to revamp the whole containment room. If we take a little screenshot and we can use this to kind of explain the new idea. So this whole section right here, I am going to put back here and stretch it. So it's going to be over like the whole back floor, just like this. This whole section here, we're going to put one in each gap of this, which I think will look pretty cool. We're also going to make sure the brightness of the red is toned down quite a bit, maybe more to a crimson instead of a bright red. And then we're going to open this back door a little bit, leading into sort of a separate containment area that will be just a lot bigger, really. So none of that should be too hard. First things first, we need to grab this mesh and just scale it on both sides. Yes, it does look a bit stretched and gross now, but I think it'll be fine when we sort of hide it behind the wall. Something like this. Now, we're not going to be able to use a Roblox circle for that inside anymore because they stretch proportionally. However, if we just make the Roblox circle into a union, which a lot of people don't really like unions, and they're not the greatest when you overuse them, but for this example, I think it'll be fine. Roblox gave us the ability to stretch unions. So all we have to do is the same thing that we did with the steps here, and then just make sure it's not sticking out over there and not sticking out over here. There we go, looking good. Now this whole back wall, I do really like the aesthetic of it. I think I'm gonna just chop this in half, maybe bring it to here, bring these over to the side as well, and then we will have this here instead, and this will be sort of opened now. So I'm gonna go all the way to the top with this stuff. We are going to drop this back, and let's make sure this is a decent size. That should be okay. Now, if we delete all of this stuff, we can just copy and paste this side. Rotate that around, bring it over here. Oh my gosh, that's not what I wanted to do. Perfect. And now all we have to do is kind of drop this stuff back a little bit. That is looking pretty good. Now that we have that placed, this middle wall, I think we're just gonna have it on both sides just to fill in those gaps that we had. And then the middle itself, I'm gonna make one of these. So we'll just copy and paste this out of here. And we're gonna make this seem so much bigger. Just like this. We'll bring it back a little bit and then all the way up to the top. And it's gonna seem like this whole room is the containment for the monster. Maybe something like this. Now, I think having these walls go back a little bit does help with a bit of the illusion. So we are going to have those. And then I think I'm going to duplicate this and move it back a few times. Something like this. Now, all of the red in this entire area just needs to be way toned down. So let's grab everything that's currently red. We are on a very dark red already in maroon. Let's just tone that even more down. Something along these lines looks good to me. We did forget this one right here, so kind of still need to do that. Oh, we didn't forget it. We just didn't use part color. There we go. So now everything is way toned back, and this guy, I think we're gonna sink it into the ground and then use it on the sides. Now, I don't know if we have enough space for it in all of them, but at least the two middle ones. Let's go ahead and scale it down a little bit. It doesn't have to be too big anymore because it's not the main house for the main monster. And we're gonna angle it on about 45 degrees just so everything is looking nice. Let's make sure that's on the ground. It's not. We're gonna sink that into about here. And I do think going into all of them would be a bit overkill, having one here, here, and here. So I think just the center two works good for me. Let's duplicate those over and put them here. And already we have a lot bigger of a feel in this room. Up next, I need to make this look sort of cracked. And I do think I want to bring the brightness up just a bit on this front one, just to kind of draw attention to it when you walk into this room. I'm going to try to find some sort of cracked decal to put on here and hope that works. If not, we're going to have to figure out a little bit different of a way to make this look more broken. All right, guys, just with parts kind of blocked a little thing out. Let's turn this just like this, and now it looks all busted up and broken. Another thing that I want to do is add some sort of point light in here, just because I think it would look good and draw a little bit more attention to this area. And we need to have a wall in the back, just so it doesn't go into like infiniteness, if that makes sense. It can definitely be a bit further back though, because we do want this to seem quite a bit bigger than the original. And we'll go ahead and scale these side walls back too. All right, not too bad. However, this wall does need to be a little thinner. I think that works. And we need a little bit of a ground in here. We'll just use the wall again as the ground and shrink that down a bit. There we go. Definitely a lot bigger of an area for a monster now. Now, as for point lights, I'm going to go ahead and add an attachment into this object. And guys, little pro tip, whenever you're working with lights, always add an attachment. I'll tell you why. It makes it so much easier. First off, let's make this into a dark red. Let's go up here, tone that back some, and then brightness, we could go up just a little bit, something like that. And now we have a bit of depth in this room. We should also use the same floor we have out here, I assume. We have plaster metal. There we go. And let's change the color to match as well, even though it doesn't really matter because of that point light. Now, what I was saying about the light, guys, the reason it's so important to be in an attachment is because if it's not, it's just a light that goes to the middle of your object. But since we have it in an attachment, we can freely move this light to wherever we want, which just gives us a lot more room to play and be creative. I do think I want to bring this up a little bit so it looks like the whole area in here is the floor instead of half and half. I think so far, this room definitely looks quite a bit better. The next thing I want to tackle is sort of these cord things that I made. They're cool, but they're not really scary. And I don't know why. It could be because there's fabric, but I also am not checking with the current game's lighting. So let's hop in game and see how this looks. All right, let's expand that. Perfect. And now let's see how this looks when we come here in game. All right, guys, so I don't have the desktop audio on, so you guys won't really be able to hear anything, but we did add in some of your recommendations. First things first, the flashlight is no longer a tool within your inventory. Now you just press F to turn it on. And it's also no longer in your hands because the goal, at least for this map in this game, which there will be multiple maps. This is kind of creepy. I don't know why the light was going dark and not dark and I wasn't touching nothing. That was a little unplanned scariness. Anyways, this game's gonna have multiple maps and multiple different stories you can play through. And this one, you're basically like watching videos, but you are the video, if that makes sense. And it might not to everybody, but that's the idea. Sort of like a found footage type deal. Anyways, let's go ahead and walk down to the containment room, which is gonna take a little while because sprinting doesn't last that long. Also, in the last video when I sprinted right there, someone was like, dude, the camera shakes way too much when you're sprinting. That is because there is a trigger plate back there that shakes the screen when the monster makes the noise. It's not actually sprinting. Here's how smooth sprinting is. It's just, yeah, the shake was not related to the sprint. All right, guys, we just reached the containment room. Let's go ahead and open up the door. Okay, now let's hop on in, look around a little bit. Definitely a lot more scary with the lighting and no super pop out reds. I will say, I do think back here needs to pop a little bit more, guys. We could definitely exaggerate the light a little, I think, or just do something to help over here pop out more, because when you walk in, I mean, there's not really... Oh, whoa. See, this is the thing I'm talking about, okay? And I just figured out what it is. The scripter, aka Robo, must have put the light in your head. Like, when your avatar kind of does that idle thing to look, it's probably moving the light to look side to side. That's kind of creepy. Now, with this being dark, I do think we can brighten up the red colors a little bit because they're barely noticeable right now. And I think they should be allowed to be a little bit more noticeable. So we're gonna brighten up the reds a little bit, and we're gonna make this red light back here flicker, because that's just scary. And the game's supposed to be scary. So first things first, let's just brighten this up a little bit. I think it could be maybe, we're gonna have to look in game, but I do think it could be a little over exaggerated. I don't think that would be a bad thing. Now, all of these reds, let's go ahead and brighten those up just a little bit. Not too much, guys. Like, we have to find a balance between that super bright that we had and just like a little brighter slash noticeable. So instead of going all the way up here, maybe meet in the middle, somewhere around here. and we'll check that out. Another thing we can do just to add a little bit more dimension into this room is add in some little paths to the little containment things. We'll bring them right to the insides of the little legs like so, and we are going to go on both sides of this. Oh my gosh, the lights just went rainbow. Someone just subscribed. Their name was Karand. I don't know if I said that right, but thank you for subscribing. Anyways, let's go ahead and make one of these on both sides just to add a little bit more to this room. Bring that a little more centered. There we go. Yeah, that's not as bad. Another thing that could be sick is tubes on the top of these. For now, I'm going to use cylinders because that is the easiest way to go about it. Something like this, and we're just going to connect those to the ceiling. And of course, make them a pretty dark color. That helps a lot. Maybe all of these should be really black instead of like this weird halfway blue-black type color. Like it's called black, but really black. Oh yeah, that helps a ton. Let's do the same for this. Yeah, I think that's nice. Now for this, let's go ahead and copy its position, and we're gonna paste that into this tube, and that's just gonna make sure that we are perfectly centered. Then we can just scale it up. We'll scale it up here too, so it's not sticking out the bottom, and we're gonna make this a little bit fatter. Yeah, I like that. Now we'll just throw one on this side and throw them across to these as well. All right, that's not looking too bad. Let's go ahead and see how this looks in game. For testing purposes and gameplay purposes, I definitely need to make this sprint or your stamina last quite a bit longer, because right now it takes a good little second to recharge, and even at 100, this is how far I can run. I'm holding it, we're running, that's it. And it's just like, we should definitely make it so you can run a little bit longer. It's not too satisfying at the moment. Oh, the file room. Oh, snap. Looking decent. These papers are definitely too bright. I'll need to go back through and check those for sure, because right now, just a bit too bright, but that's an easy fix. We'll probably turn them to more of a cream, sort of yellowish tan color instead of straight up white. And if they're smooth plastic right now, we'll turn them into plastic because it's just less reflective. Electrical. I was walking the wrong way. Hold up. Wait a second. I was walking how did I end up over here, bro? Oh my God. Oh my God. I have made it to the containment room, and I kind of scared myself with my own avatar right here, but let's hop in. Oh yeah, so first off, right when you come in, I think the full brightness on that red light was a good idea. Now, some people might not exactly like it, and I think I need to figure out a different way to do the cracks, because they're like just all right, you know, they look a little goofy. I think the cords on the top look a lot better. I forgot to anchor these, which kind of sucks, but I can fix that in a second. I think the containment room overall looks a lot better than it did. The only things that it needs now is an actual monster. Now, I'm not good at sculpting, and I'm not really that good at modeling. I've never done a creature in my life. However, in the next episode on this scary game, I'm gonna try to make a monster in Blender, and I think it's gonna be a horrible time, because not only does it need to be modeled in a way that it can be rigged and animated, it's gotta be my first time trying to do anything like that. So guys, I think for today, containment room, definitely 10 times better, right? It's got a bigger monster, or a bigger place for a monster to match the sounds. The crack is gonna have to be figured out a bit because I want it to look broken. Maybe I'll fill in kind of connecting all of this and blacking it out so it looks like a hole that the monster could come out of. And then for these, maybe we'll just like shrink the monster into like little baby forms of the monster or something. But I think that's gonna wrap it up for today. If you did enjoy and you want to see more content like this, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. The door handle doesn't go with the door. Have a great day. Later.